Hello everyone and welcome once again to another program of Primetime. I'm your host Beverly and we are in full campaign mode. We know election is just around the corner. The 2018 elections countdown is on. The hope is yet to avoid another coalition government. And our guests today have opted to join forces before the elections. So stay with Primetime and we'll find out. We'll be back in a moment.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like knowing you're covered when your house gets flooded, getting your settlements quickly and fairly when a fire hits your home, and making sure your business can keep going even after an accident happens on site. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
On the UD list. Come on and show your support. This year we going to mash them up, 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 mash them up. This year election coming. Frankie Myers number 3 we voting. He does always fight but we not joking boy. This year we going to mash them up, mash them up, mash them up. Election again and we're not afraid to vote for Frankie and tell him we love him cause he is the man.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more, however you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right, get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah, right. Accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
As I mentioned in my opening, we are in full campaign mode, and joining me on studio today is the President of Parliament and also candidate number 2 on the United Democrats slate, and that is Sarah Wescot Williams. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
A pleasure to be on the program once again.
Yes, and so another election,
yes.
Another campaign. What is going to make this one different?
I really hope that the United Democrats, on which slate I am participating in this election, will get a full-out mandate. In other words, a majority of the seats in Parliament. Although I believe that that is not the only item in order to guarantee stability, right. It is important that that group also has a clear and agreed to vision in moving St. Martin forward. So while we look for a majority, yes, but also our view, our vision that this election, which came unfortunately, and you know we contested the fact that elections were called, and maybe we could get into the reason why, but right now we look at this election as basically given a mandate so that we can continue on the path that we started, which is a part of rebuilding St. Martin. So that's the priority. Reason, top priority. Reason we came together, the reason why we put aside the two parties. We wanted to avoid the politics that every party has, including our two parties. There's a certain culture, there's a certain organization in the parties. Not to have to look at those aspects, we decided we will come together as the United Democrats, and our focus is clear. While, of course, the focus is on the United Democrats, you see where the slate of the NA2, you see where the OSPP has joined with the NA. But of course, yeah. we like that, we like the focus on us, but you know, we did it with a very specific goal in mind.
Was it difficult coming together for this marriage?
It of course needed to be spoken about. It needed to be taken back to our membership. However, given the short time that was involved, we didn't have much time to go over it and come back and then try again. So it sort of forced us into deciding this is the way we're going to go. And that's the way it happened. We will have to work things out further in the future, and we don't pretend that it's going to be easy, especially not with a full mandate, but we are committed to making it work because we don't have the time for any type of politicking. We really want to focus on St. Martin. The coming months and years even, Bev, are going to be critical. They're going to be challenging, and we can't afford any distraction, and we are very, very cognizant of that fact.
What's the general public's take on this new formation?
Primarily, good. Primarily, the feedback that we have been getting, even from some of the persons, and it's definitely in my camp, and I'm sure in Theo's camp as well, of whom we would have thought, oh my God, they're going to resist this.
Yes.
But no, they understand, they appreciate. Imagine, from both of us, we had other prospective candidates, persons from the Democratic Party and the United People's Party who wanted to participate, but a slate can only carry 23 persons, 23 candidates. And it was remarkably how after getting over, the first disappointment, not being able to participate, but how they have all rallied behind us. And I really, really appreciate that, especially from those persons who were disappointed because they could not participate in this election. But again, the election came about in such a fashion, we objected to the fact that the government, by dissolving parliament, called elections upon us. It is the government that basically organized the election. And yes, they can do it because of our constitution, but under the circumstances, to have election when you go out there, Beverly, and the persons, the voters are like, why don't you just do the work that needs to be done on our behalf? And so it is not easy on the campaign trail.
I'm not going to ask you, but we'll take a break and when we come back, we talk about that. And what about the skeptics that says this is a marriage of convenience? So you will clear up that.
Then, okay, sure, we'll do that.
Stay tuned and we'll be back in a moment.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 fun mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Within your reach.
A cruise is a great adventure, not only for passengers, also for us. The Port of St. Martin. Our port always reflected the needs and aspirations of the time. From the first to the 1.75 millionth passenger in 2013. Our cruise story started in 1963 with our first cruise passenger. 50 great years later, 20 million passengers later, thousands of cruise berths later, we've become the leading port in the Caribbean. 50 fantastic years. Like a dream. The dream of Port St. Martin lives on and reinvents itself every day. The best is yet to come.
At Travel Planners, we love what we do. Every day we help our clients plan their vacations, from honeymoons to family reunions, trade shows to conventions, school trips to sports tournaments. Our agents at Travel Planners can help you make better, wiser decisions on travel destinations and cruises and find you the lowest fares. Make some memories with help from Travel Planners in Phillipsburg and on the Airport Road, Simpson Bay. Visit our website at Planners SXM And like us on Facebook at St. Martin Travel Planners. We take care of all your travel needs.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. We have in studio today President of Parliament and candidate number 2 on the United Democratic slate, Ms. Sarah Wescot Williams. Curious, going out on the campaign trail, how do you bring a sense of hope to someone who has a house and no roof?
The only hope that we can bring is the assurance and commitment to those persons that we are working on getting them assisted as fast as possible. This whole saga that we had that led up to elections being called by the government, so the previous government, has actually delayed the aid that needed to come to St. Martin. It has delayed that aid. However, the interim government has picked up especially the matter of receiving the aid, getting the help to St. Martin so that we can execute these programs. So when we of the United Democrats go out to the voters and to the people of St. Martin, we are able to tell them, while we know it is inconvenient, it was inconsiderate to do it, but we are telling them that let's just get over this hump. We consider the election a hump. Get over that hump so that we can continue to meet their needs. And those needs are many. As you said, we have many persons still whose homes need to be repaired. We want to deal with the matter of creating jobs for the people. That is so important. And so with that assurance, you are able to face the voters with a little more confidence than having to tell them, well, under the circumstances, we are still looking for your vote.
People are saying, you know what, this is 5 elections in 6 years, I'm not going to bother, I'm not coming out to vote. Are you getting that sentiment out there?
Yeah, it still lives out there, but I was encouraged by the fact that when the possibility was created for persons to go and look for their voting cards, and that was done for exactly 1 week, what we saw that over 6,000 persons made the effort to go and look for their voting card. So I think that that's a good signal, and I think our message is being heard that in order to get us back in government with a solid support, you need to go out and vote. And again, I was encouraged by that very fact, and I hope that with the distribution of voting cards, many more persons will have their voting card, and we can see a good turnout at the polls on February the 26th.
So what are you focused on, whether it's meetings or whether it's going house to house? What message are you sharing?
Well, first of all, it is always good to be able to have the opportunity to speak to individuals, and that's the opportunity that you get as you go from house to house, and then what you say at the rallies and the meetings would be what people want to know and the answers that people want to have. Right. So when you combine those two things, you can take into consideration what are the sentiments, what are people feeling. Yes, we know because of the hurricane, we know that many jobs have been lost. We know, you see it, that many homes are still in need, in need of repairs and roofs, and we know that many of our elderly are having hard times, and so those are things we know, but you always get a different dimension when you're able to sit one-on-one and hear what persons tell you. It is also always still heartbreaking when you hear some of the individual stories coming out of the hurricane, what persons went through, So I have sat in so many homes and still, marveled at the fact that notwithstanding what we all have gone through, we're still standing today. It's amazing, and I think that speaks to a word that we often use, and that is the resilience of the people of St. Martin.
And so, why should people take February 26th elections seriously?
If the people want a serious government, and I know that they want a serious government, then you have to take the election seriously. This is the opportunity that you have to appoint your parliament. And whether a few or many go out to vote, we're going to get a parliament, Beverly. You know that those 15 members are going to be appointed. Do you not want your voice to be counted in who will be representing you? If you do, then you have to go out and vote on February the 26th. And I really believe that the United Democrats have put together a slate of competent and committed persons. We have expertise and experience in so many areas, and I'm truly proud to be part of this group of persons.
So why should they vote for candidate number 2 on the United Democrats, Sarah Wescot Williams?
Because candidate number 2 brings along with her a wealth of experience when it matters. We need to have that kind of knowledge and experience to keep the government that we will be appointing, to keep them in track, to keep them, you know, with a focus on the right perspective, and with the eye on the ball, so to speak. And that calls for knowing government, it calls for understanding government, it calls for consensus in many cases, and I think that I bring a lot of that, although I'm saying it myself, but I also hear that as a consensus out there when I speak to persons.
Thank you so much, President of Parliament.
It was my pleasure.
And candidate
Thank you.
number 2 on the United Democratic
so
slate.
much.
We wish you all the best, and we're looking for great results.
Thank you.
Stick around, and we'll be back in a moment with another candidate.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
The Daily Herald is my first source for up-to-date information and news. Putting together this program of prime time requires research and knowledge of current events. For local news, regional and international news, do read the Daily Herald. Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. This is prime time. As we mentioned earlier on, we are in campaign mode. Election is just about a week away, and joining us now in studio is Member of Parliament and the candidate number 1 on the United Democratic slate, and that is Mr. Theo Heyliger. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, earlier on, I asked President of Parliament, Sarah Wescot Williams, another election, another campaign, what is going to make this one different?
Well, first of all, good evening to you, Bev, and good evening to all your listeners and televiewers out there. Thank you for having me on the program. Well, what makes this campaign different? I mean, you know, I think that the people of St. Martin are like fatigued with the amount of campaigns. Well, I know I am. But what makes this one very different is the timing of a campaign. I mean, you could not have picked the worst timing ever. You really have to be somebody that's totally unsympathetic to the community at large and truly only thinks for himself, because how could you know, many people don't have their roof over their head, many people don't have windows and doors. I mean, listen, I'm telling you straight, in my own house, I'm still rebuilding, and then you have to go out there, and even as a candidate and as a person, now you have to go out and ask people to vote for you. I mean, I would not like to be the person that have called elections and go and sit in someone's house and say, well, I want your vote, and I was the one that called elections. I mean, to me, it should have been the priority, should have been rebuilding the island, rebuilding the confidence in the community, rebuilding hope for the community of St. Martin. So what makes it different? You know, it's just the timing of it. How could you do something like this?
So what brought about this marriage of the Up Party and the Democrats?
I think it comes to, you know, humanity. I mean, the state of the country. You can pull out swords at each other during election time, but there's got to be a time when you also say that, listen, at the time of the day, it has to be about the community, it has to be about the people of this country. And I think that any differences that we had to put aside, we did that, and to make sure that we want to show stability for our country, to show that we mean that we want to push the country forward, like I said, and give hope to the community. And to really be, we only finalized the discussions 48 hours before postulation, but at the end of the day, I'm happy with that, Beverly. A lot of people say, you should have continued under the up banner and then joined the coalition after if you wanted. But again, I think it has to show the population the amount of seriousness involved in governing a country. It has to show that, listen, let's have the talks before, so that you could immediately get into governing the country, get into immediate relief for the people, and give hope to the community. To me, the list is about hope.
How realistic is it for a mandate?
Over the years, it become more and more difficult, I believe. Probably one of the best campaigns that I've ever ran was the 2014 campaign. I don't think that we did anything technically wrong. Our PR team was superb. The candidates were superb. But I'll tell you now, you've taken two of the larger parties and you've put them together. You've put an all-star team together, in my opinion. It's now or never in terms of winning an outright election, and I do believe that's what this list was meant to build on. It has not only veteran politicians, but also newcomers on the list. It has the two big parties involved together, and I think it shows commitment to the community of St. Martin.
What are people saying when they go out there? When you go out there campaigning, visiting homes, public meetings, what are the sentiments expressed?
Are
they saying, why did you join? Why didn't you go on your own? What are they saying?
Well, you get, of course, Theo, you could have done this alone, and I said, but you have to be frank about this in terms of what the community is out there. And again, you go into someone's house and they don't have a roof. It's very hard to campaign or to discuss with them the community at large or the country at large when they themselves are saying, yeah, but I'm sorry, Theo, but I'm being a little selfish now. I need a roof. I need a job. And it's very tough because the time that we're living in, before you could have fixed somebody's roof.
No.
You didn't ask them to vote for them. You didn't buy their vote.
Yes.
But you could have fixed their roof and walked out and you had no issue. Today, you fix somebody's roof or something like that, you can get into some serious issues.
Vote buying. You can't even give somebody a sweetie now.
Yeah, that is correct. And to me, it's a very hurtful thing, Beverly, because I'm a person that helps people, and all guns, all eyes pointed at me. So you go into someone's house, and to be very straightforward, my campaign has not been anything like what it has in the past, because I don't like to give people any sense of false security as well. So you speak to people, of course, you campaign, but sitting in the houses that I used to do before, I tend not to, because I just don't want someone coming in there and questioning them after, what did Theo tell you, what did he promise you, anything like that. And I'm trying to make sure I don't get in trouble and the person gets in trouble, because that's the motive behind a lot of this that's going on.
Okay, we'll take a break, and when we come back, if you get the mandate as you're campaigning for, what are some of your top priority things that you want to get done in our community? Stick around, and be back in a moment. Remember to look at us on YouTube and Facebook, and remember to subscribe. We'll be back in a moment. The Daily Herald is my first source for up-to-date information and news. Putting together this program of prime time requires research and knowledge of current events. For local news, regional and international news, do read the Daily Herald. To just remind you, we are on YouTube and Facebook, and please subscribe. You can see this program, all our programs in its entirety and at your own convenience. And also we're back on cable TV, channel 15. And so, you're looking for a mandate, 8 or more. If you get that, what are your areas that you're going to focus on immediately?
Well, I believe when we get the mandate on the 26th, Beverly, it's going to be, to me, I have two priorities. It's housing and also job creation for the people of St. Martin. If you, and I had the opportunity of walking through Phillipsburg, going from store to store and seeing what is going on. I mean, it was a depressing issue, but to me, it's also a motivating factor. Because, and why I say motivation, because it's going to drive you, and in particular me, to look at establishing business for the country. Building homes for people, when we go in and see the kind of deplorable conditions that they're living in, we have to. I've said on the campaign trail, we're going to be looking for close to 100,000 square meters of land in different areas to be able to buy affordable homes. Making sure that they are hurricane proof, start that program, make sure that our people get homes, because there's over 5,000 requests at the Housing Foundation right now for homes. And then you're also looking at people that they just need help with their homes. You have retired people, and they had built a little apartment or two, and that was a little extra supplemental income to their pensions. You can't tell the people, well, we can't fix those little apartments for you because you're having a pension. I mean, we have to start to understand the plight of our elderly, and we have to understand the plight of businesses there. A program that is going to help our hotels to rebuild, because what is happening now, a lot of our hotels are not going to rebuild it the way that they need to be for category 4 and up type hurricanes. That's one. They're going to need some sort of a stimulation package, and in my opinion, it should be across the board on all of our hotels. So not only limited to one, but in particular all. Maybe a type of a softer loan that will give them the opportunity to build. And this is not something new to St. Martin. This is something that is offered throughout the Caribbean. And we have to get with the program to be able to rebuild our hotels. And in the same time, helping to establish that middle type of business on the country. I think also in terms of getting back our cruise harbor and also the airport going has got to be a priority. But with rebuilding the airport, it should include the U.S. pre-clearance, because again, we have to again look at pushing ourselves beyond our competitors. I mean, you have an Antigua that has really just duplicated our airport and now is in full swing because our airport is closed. You have Anguilla that's looking to take over our private jet business. St. Kitts doing the same thing. You have our cruise ship harbor. We've lost this year in particular, we're looking at 900,000 passengers is the forecast, when St. Martin has always been up to 2 million passengers. I can't remember the last time we were below 1 million passengers, something that we're going to have to think outside the box. One of the plans that I want to push towards the community is say, listen, we have already programs with the cruise lines. I want to take it a step further. Let us take the payers that we have now and put them on lease to the cruise lines. That way now we guarantee that they're coming to the island. We guarantee to cut down the loans that we have now, because really St. Martin is in a huge debt situation after post Irma. So we need to cut that down, and we need to bring back the lines that don't come here now. For example, like Disney Cruise Line, MSC, so Mediterranean Shipping Company, Norwegian Cruise Line. We need to bring these customers back to our shores. We need to do programs like what we did with Emilio Wilson. You saw that. It took me 7 years of fighting with the previous government to get it. And anyone that goes in there and tells me that they don't enjoy it and understand what that program is, then I'm sorry, then you have to be blind. But these are the type of programs that we need to push forward and to make sure that our people continue to get jobs. We can't have 3,000 people without jobs, Beverly, and then hope that the problems are going to go away.
Half a second. Why should they vote for candidate number 1, Mr. Theo Heyliger, on the United Democrats?
Well, if there's anybody that has a proven track record for the economy, I mean, I just don't make fancy Facebook commercials. You can actually see the things that I have done. You can actually see the numbers that I have brought to this country. Yes, I'm the target number 1 of everybody, but I think that once you witness my track record, that there's nobody that comes close.
Thank you very much, and wish you all success.
Appreciate it.
Have a great campaign.
Thank you.
This has been Prime Time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week, and may God bless you.